This is CNN Breaking News.
And what will go down as the worst mass shooting in American history. At least 50 people are dead. At least 53 people are injured after a gunman opened fire at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida at approximately 2 a.m. Eastern.
The first of the two explosions rocks the sidewalk along the course. White smoke blasting into the air, blowing metal barricades into the street.
It does not appear that there's any kind of an effort up there yet. Now remember, oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
Pull back for a wide shot, the scene is nothing short of apocalyptic. 80% of New Orleans, including much of downtown, is underwater, and rising waters will now force officials to evacuate the shelter at the Superdome.
I started hearing everybody yell, get down, there's kids outside with guns. And so I got down, and pretty soon we all evacuated into the auditorium and ran.
5-year-old man is in custody and facing 3 counts of murder after running over an emergency medical technician. The victim's a 44-year-old mother of 5. It was a 14-year veteran of the department. New York's Mayor Bill de Blasio says the city lost a good woman.
Suffering. Noun. The state of undergoing pain, distress, or hardship. Verb. To experience, be affected, or to be subjected to something bad or unpleasant. Unfortunately, everyone will experience pain, grief, and suffering at one time or another. Pain is universal. Pain knows no specific gender, race, region, or age. The hurt that comes from losing a friend or a loved one. The frustration of hospital visits, the confusion behind acts that are out of our control that change lives forever. Bad things happen all around us. We don't have to look far to find someone hurting. As humans, we are inclined to know why. Why do bad things happen to good people? Who is to blame for world hunger, war, sickness, strife at its best, adversity at its finest, tragedy in its prime? Why does this happen? Who is to blame? Is it humans? Coincidence? God? If so, where does a loving and merciful God play into the crisis of everyday life? How do we go about living after these losses, these pains that hinder us from being ourselves? The pain that brings depression, anxiety, loss of identity, and suicide. How do we as Christians adjust to suffering? And what part does suffering play in everyday life? Well, I may not have all the answers. I don't know if anyone really does, but I wish to walk through each of them with you. Together, we will gain insight on what suffering produces, how it can affect us, how it will change us, and how we can find the light in what seems as endless darkness. Though the storm is heavy, and the journey to recovery is seemingly impossible, together we will explore, learn, and grow. Welcome to week 1 of the aftermath. There was a wealthy man by the name of Job. He had a large family, lots of land with servants, livestock, and resources. Not only does he have physical riches, but he was also a hardworking man, a good and a kind man, always careful to avoid doing evil. Everyone loved Job. One day, Job received 4 messages, each bearing separate news that his livestock, servants, and his 10 children all died because of house invaders and natural catastrophes. Job, distraught over his losses, is so upset he tears his clothes and shaves his head in mourning. But he still blesses God in his prayers. Job curses the day he was born, comparing life and death to light and darkness. His first friend responds to Job, saying that When Job used to comfort other people, it shows now that he never really understood their pain. He believed that Job's agony must have been due to some wrongdoing that Job must have done. That he urges Job to seek God's favor. His other two friends agree that Job must have done something to offend God's justice and argue that he should try to be a better man. They say Job's children brought their deaths upon themselves. Even worse, another implies that whatever wrong Job had done, he probably deserved even worse. Some friends, right? Job responds to each of them, becoming so irritated that he calls his friends worthless. People who sugarcoat with lies. Job ponders man's relationship to God. God is unseen and his ways are beyond human understanding. He says humans cannot possibly persuade God with their words. God cannot be deceived, and Job admits that he doesn't understand himself, not well enough to effectively plead his case to God, to have everything that he lost back. His wealth, his health. But then, God finally interrupts, calling from a whirlwind and demanding Job to be brave and to respond to his questions. God's questions are rhetorical, intending to show just how little Job knows about creation and how much power God has. God describes many detailed aspects of creation, and overwhelmed by the encounter, Job acknowledges God's unlimited power and admits to the limitations of his human knowledge. God returns Job's health, providing him with twice as much property as he had before, new children, and an extremely long life. God, before I knew only what I have heard of you, but now I have seen you. Therefore, I realize the truth. Despite the pain and suffering, Job was forced to learn more about God in his questioning and frustration. This is why in week 1 we learn suffering produces intimacy with God. Crying is not bad. Yelling and questioning are not bad, long as we bring it to the one who has the answers.
I need it.